What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about this clip from IShowSpeed stream in the USVI in St. Thomas. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because this has stirred a lot of misinformation for the uneducated and the historically illiterate. And I don't want to talk down on this particular group in the video necessarily, because I think that what they're doing is done with good intention. And I also want to clarify that I am in no way stating that Afro-Caribbean people should not be able to partake and research and understand and learn about the indigenous history of the Caribbean and take pride in the indigenous blood that they have. Because I do believe that, given the history, a lot of Afro-Latinos and Afro-Caribbean people do have indigenous blood in them and have had a tight connection with the indigenous population of the Caribbean. As I mentioned in some of my older videos, I talked about the Maroon communities, the Mawon communities, the Cimarron communities, all of the communities that derive from Afro-indigenous groups of people that preserve a lot of the indigenous culture and a lot of the indigenous history. Now, a few problems here that I could dive into more in some other videos, but essentially the main issue I have here is that, although, like I said, it's probably done with well intention, it does seem like nobody has stated the obvious, that this group of people is mixed with African descent. That's okay. You know, just like many Kalinago people are also mixed with African descent. But to say that this is the same group of people that Columbus would have seen when he arrived in the Caribbean is not entirely truthful. It's okay to be Afro-Indigenous. It's okay to have African ancestry and indigenous ancestry. And I know that there's a lot of people that feel a type of way of anyone with African descent because the genetics are so strong and those components tend to come through way stronger because the dominant gene in most people. People often deny Afro-Indigenous people their indigeneity, and I'm not one that agrees with that. I don't believe in that. I think that if you're Afro-Indigenous, you should be able to claim your indigenous heritage just like anyone else. However, being Afro-Indigenous is understanding that you descend from two groups of people and you accept that. You don't have to say that you are not African because you are also indigenous. There are many people running with this clip and taking it as some sort of hard proof that prior to colonization, there was a lot of people with this phenotype everywhere in the Americas. Now, if you want to talk about phenotype, I suggest that you look at indigenous populations from South America and especially deep in the Amazon. And they tend to have a lot of darker features regardless. You don't have to downplay your African features to try to fit the mold of what is indigenous, or you don't have to try to write off your African features as indigenous features for you to feel good about claiming your indigenous heritage. Because regardless of what your hair texture is or whatever the case is, if you are Afro-Indigenous, you have that native blood in you regardless. So you don't have to try to say, oh, well, this hair is indigenous. No, you could just say my hair is African, and that's okay. Anyways, I love to debate with you in the comments if you feel like you want to debate. I'm more than happy to engage in a debate anyway, and I'd like to hear what you have to say if you're one of those people. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you guys on the next one. Stay safe with your roots.